Hey guys, welcome to the review. Sorry for the delays. Recording is such a hard time for me, and trying to find the right place and the right moment to do the recordings is a little bit of a challenge. So I'm trying something new, see if I could do it more on the fly, and that way I can get these recordings to you a lot faster. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Before I go into details about what we're going to talk about today, this is a spoiler for anyone who is interested in Treadstone. We're going to talk about episode 4. Just came out last week, and we are going to discuss everything behind it. So I'm really excited. So if you haven't watched it yet, watch it first, then come back and watch us again, okay? All right, so episode 4. First of all, what got me into the idea of doing this recording in the first place here in a remote area is basically how the story and how the show has done an excellent job in finding different locations for their storyline. I've traveled around the world. Probably the reason why they only have 10 episodes, not only because it's the first season, but because it's, so hard in production wise to go from, France or to Korea or China or somewhere in the United States, stuff like that. So I believe that's a coolest part of the whole show, is the fact that you have to kind of like a realism behind the characters and behind the show, and it makes you really feel like you're a part of this. So when I talk about that, I also talk about the policing and things of that sort, because we know that people who are in prison always are a lock and key and things of that sort. And one of the things we're going to talk about is, first off, is Matt. Matt is the CIA agent who went to see the new cicada in the prison. He was the one who was questioning the new cicada as far as what is his mission, who sent him, what was his orders, what were some of the things that he was responsible of doing. So once he started asking the question, the magician who was helping him out, who set this in motion, he feels a little bit scared that pushing the wrong buttons may get him hurt by the people who are hiring him. And Matt's promising that he'll protect them. And in the midst of them trying to uncover the memories of this new cicada, something triggered in him, and he remembered his training to escape from prison and things of that sort, and he basically fights everyone to get out of prison, and he kills the magician that was trying to ask those questions because of the questions he asked. And you see him die in that scene. And not only that, do you see him fight Matt, who gets unconscious and wakes up to find that he went through a dozen or more security guards to get out. And to some degree, he injured most of them and only killed that magician the only time. So Matt is trying to get some approval to chase him down. He realizes that in the questioning that he had with him, he mentioned that he remembers memories of a little girl, a baby girl, that he hasn't seen since he got turned into a cicada. And Matt puts 2 and 2 together and realizes that he might want to go and see this daughter of his, and the cicada leads the tracks to an opposite direction of where he was heading. So Matt figured this out. He didn't tell the officers that are chasing him down. He decides to tell his superiors to talk about what he can do to chase him, and that he's got to bring him in to try to find out who is reactivating all the cicadas and activating Treadstone. So he is on the hunt. He finally catches up to this cicada and basically sees him in a state patrolman uniform or police officer uniform, and realizes that he's not him. It's the cicada. And the cicada talked to him, and he feels like he's about to kill him, or at least you feel it. But Matt convinces him that, I'll help you see your daughter, only for a moment, but you're going to help me to try to uncover this. And more or less they've come to an agreement that as long as you show me my daughter, I'll help you find the people who did this to you, type of thing. So I like that sense. That was similar to the Bourne movies, where he receives help from some people and he did favors in return to some degree. Now obviously Bourne was a whole different movie and character and everything like that, but he did do certain things to find out information. So I believe that that's kind of like the idea of where this new cicada is going to. Alright, so we're going to talk about the Korean assassin. Apologies if I'm not pronouncing your name. I just don't want to butcher it, and I know that I'm not going to be saying it appropriately, so I don't want to make it seem like, I'm disrespecting you. So I apologize. I'm going to refer you as that for this duration. So the Korean assassin, she is trying to figure out what is happening. In the midst of this, she's trying to get back to her family, which she couldn't pass her mission to retrieve a SIM card for the soldier who threatened her and her family. So she's running back to her son, hides around, and fights these soldiers, to a sense kills them, because she remembers, I guess, her training on killing these soldiers, and these soldiers basically, just get their ass kicked, except for the one who threatened her and her family. That guy has some mad skills, and she was losing for the majority of that fight, but she, in true born fashion, I should say, she used her surroundings to find what she can use against him, and found a flashlight, blinding him in the middle of the night, which he lost sight of her, and then she starts fighting back. And it gets to a point where she's about to kill him, then pulls up the colonel, and the colonel is saying, hey, you forgot this, and realizes that she accepted a mission or an order to retrieve his SIM card for whatever XYZ reason. He then later finds out that it's because they were threatening her son and her mother, and he tells her that next time something like this happens, to come and see me first before you do something like this. Basically, you're an idiot type of thing. And in that time frame, she gets like these orders from the colonel, basically stating, you're gonna go here and you're going to basically kill a next target. And we go and move forward into the episode, and she's basically saying goodbye to her son, and in a way saying bye to her husband, because the husband sees that she's all beat up from that fight, and he wants to know what happened, but she doesn't want to share that story with her too soon, and says that she will tell him the next day, which we later find out that she left before telling him anything. And so she goes to a remote town in Korea. Once she gets to that location, she finds the business that she's supposed to go into, talks to a gentleman who gives her some, I guess, supplies, and then finds out that she's going to go into China and do something in China, which she was a little hesitant at first, but that's where the story ended with her in this episode. So I'm assuming next episode we'll obviously get a lot more detail of what's going to happen. I believe this is where, when we saw the previews to the end of this episode, it showed that Hindu woman who is there, and it looks like she's there to fight her in some way. Don't know the story yet, but we'll figure that out as we go. And hopefully next week on episode 5, we'll find out more about that. So I'm excited to see what this is going to turn into. I'm glad so far they haven't really overwhelmed us with a lot of storylines, because in the first 2 episodes, or 3 episodes, they shared like almost 6 stories with us. We got Doug, we got Matt, we had the Korean assassin, we had also the John and Petra and all those other things. So I'm liking that they're narrowing down the characters in each episode, so we can focus on the details on each particular character. So I'm liking that so far. All right, we're going to talk about the last character of the episode. Obviously, we're not going to talk about the CIA, Michelle Forbes, who is also part of Matt's storyline, but not to some degree. I mean, she's still there, but it was mainly these 3 characters that I'm talking about that were the majority of the time, I believe, in this particular episode. So Doug, we find out in episode 3 at the end that he was being sent, or a cleaner was there to clean him up, in the sense of killing him, because he's not following orders, because of the cicada program is, just not working as it's supposed to, since he was under for such a long period of time. And before he can get more information, the cicada dies to the hands of Doug's wife, who apparently at that moment, we assume, like I said last episode, that she knows more about this story. So she kills this man, and Doug is asking questions, and she's trying to blow it off, and then tells him all the nice things about, well, nothing happened, we were perfectly fine, and there's nothing wrong. I don't know who he is or what he's here for, stuff like that. And he believes it. And they discuss about disposing the body, and they go into a forest and they build or bury a hole for the body to be there. And she's basically describing things that she needs to do so they cannot see or identify this body once it's found. So they're removing teeth, they're removing fingers, I believe it was a foot as well, and she knew all of that, and he's wondering, how the hell do you know this? And she's basically saying, to continue her storyline, I'm a nurse and trauma nurse, and I've done this for so many times that these are the ways they identified John Doe's. So he's believing it. So he's believing his wife. Obviously, you've been with the woman for X amount of years, you're gonna believe your wife. So he's there, and he buries this body, and they go back home, and they're talking about, okay, let's clean up this mess, this blood. Let me see what I can find to remove it. And as Doug is cleaning the area a little bit, he finds that there's a suitcase. He opens the suitcase and he sees that this suitcase has his name on it. And he's wondering, what is this? He looks at it and he sees floor plans as to where he came from or the person he's supposed to kill. I'm not sure the details of that. I couldn't really quite grasp that, and I hadn't watched like a time running so I could see what it is. But as far as I understand, it was back when he was being programmed, and he saw this. Then Sam comes back in, sees what he's doing, and wonders, what are you doing? And realizes that the folder has some more information and even has a target to kill. And she basically spills the beans at that point, who she is and what she has done to Doug. And Doug finds out that Sam was a part of the original program of this Treadstone that transformed him from being a regular normal Joe Schmo to a cicada and a killer. So she basically files to him about the details of the project, how she was a nurse and that she was there for such a period of time, and she realizes that if he doesn't become this killer and kill these people, they're gonna kill them. So she is basically telling him that if he doesn't go, they're both screwed, and takes him to a location which seems to be like the bar, and waits for someone to pick him up, which once he's being picked up, seems like these guys are mercenaries and they don't know who he is. They just know he's a guy that they need to pick up to get paid and to kill him, and they think he's nothing because all he has is a pistol and that's all he wants to use, instead of using an assault rifle and grenades and stuff of that sort. So, and I'm assuming in the next episode on part 5, we'll see a little bit more of that action, that Tim Bourne style, and see what he's all about, if he remembers his training or if he's starting to remember, other things of his life, things of that sort. So we won't know for sure. My guess is that he will remember all of it at this particular moment, every detail behind his past life. So I'm curious to see how this is going to transpire with Sam, if Sam's going to stay alive, if Doug is going to accept her and going to progress in this relationship. We'll see how that goes. So as of right now, a lot of great things from the Treadstone series. Really enjoying it. I can't wait for episode 5 to come out and we get a little bit more story about who each person is. Based on the trailer, it looks like we're going to get back to John on 1973, and we're going to basically see that he got transformed into a cicada and he finds who did this to him, and we'll find out more about how his training and how his programming was set in place. So that might explain a lot of the things of the characters in present day a little bit more. So thanks very much for watching. I really appreciate your support. If you love what I'm doing and you want to see more of it, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you get notified of every single video I have, and I will continue to shell these out as fast as I come. We're going to get new episodes coming out of Treadstone, and as well as upcoming shows that I'm going to start doing. So stay tuned for those, okay? Thanks guys very much, and have a wonderful day. See ya.